this current world that we're in, social media as well as media that we watch on a daily basis on the big TVs that we sit down and watch, your daily news or your different sports shows, things of that nature, or even me, you're sitting there watching me right now on your TV, probably like, okay, Coach in here about to give us some good stuff as far as what his thoughts is on everything that took place with the 60 Minutes interview. Well, you know what, I'm gonna give it to you. But the one thing I have to say is that creating content from time to time, you're able to, people love to embellish just a little bit to make it a little bit more spicy because you want everybody to tune in as far as what's really going on. And a lot of times, because of the person that you're speaking about, everybody's going to clamor to that person, say what they're saying is facts. Everything else don't matter. Even if people come show you the actual context of everything that's going on, where it could be black and white, you're going to still say, nah, that ain't true. I don't believe that. Y'all making this up. Well, we've all said some unpopular things about someone or something, but was held accountable for those things that we said. Oh, y'all already know which way I'm going to go with this. We're about to talk about Jackson State in that 60-minute interview that took place at Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, Coach about to get to it right after this. It's your favorite coach back at it again. 10 toes down, about to tell you how it all went down. This is Tomorrow Leader Sports Network with your host, Coach Walker. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can get all upcoming videos. For all my leaders out there, welcome back. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the routine. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, and share these videos, and tap in a friend or two and tell them to come on in. It's nothing but positive vibes. We're just having a good time talking about HBCU sports. And don't forget, you can follow us on all social media platforms. The links are listed down below in the description. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump on in this thing because I'm like, Coach, what you got to say about this now? Well, listen, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on where I'm at with this because I'm trying to understand, who out there doesn't want to get a real feel-good type story, when you're talking about a particular topic. Everybody want to get the warm and fuzzy type feeling. I mean, many of you out there have said to me, hey, Coach, every time, it's like you talk about things, you want to make it sound like it's the pie in the sky. Everything's just going to be all right. Well, sometimes everything's not going to be all right. And you know what? You're absolutely correct. I've always been the type of person that when I sit down and give you guys content or give you my opinions on something, I try to find the positive in those situations because who wants to hear something negative all the time? I know I don't, because it gets old. It's stale. We see negative all the time on these media boxes that we watch, which are televisions. And, you're getting your information from your local TV or your local cable stations that's giving you some information just to have you in a tizzy as far as trying to understand exactly what's going on out here in this world. Right now, there's so much going on right now. There's so much going on right now in this world where it has people really questioning the integrity of those that are just, those that are giving us information. Is it the truth? And seeing how enraged head football coach T.C. Taylor and head women's basketball coach Miss Tamika Reed over at Jackson State University, how infuriated they are about how Jackson, Mississippi was depicted in that 60-minute interview with former head coach Deion Sanders, who's now the head coach of Colorado University. It didn't make sense why you would show that house that they showed, which came from one of Deion Sanders' documentaries while he was at Jackson State. And then you go show this big old pretty house in Boulder, Colorado, as if, hey, Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have those type of houses. But you know what? I'm going to show you something. Let me show you a couple of great houses there in Jackson, Mississippi, along with the former head coach Deion Sanders' house as well there in Jackson, Mississippi, just so you can see the type of homes that are there. And I know some folks be like, Coach, you complain about a house. It doesn't really mean much about nothing. It's a house. So what? You're absolutely correct. There's a lot of dilapidated properties in just about every city around this country. Even when there's dilapidated properties in certain areas, there's boarded up buildings that need to be knocked down and things of that nature that are eyesores to people that's coming into the area for the very first time. So for someone to show something like that, I get, 60 Minutes was trying to lead up to a question that they was hoping they was going to find a way they were going to get an answer from him on. But you know what? This first point, when the correspondent made the comment about 60 Minutes stating that in an interview, stated that they never interviewed the same subject 2 consecutive years in a row, Guess what? Head coach Deion Sanders is now the first. Not only that, but when he asked head coach Deion Sanders, why did he cut the mission so short at Jackson State? And Coach Prime stated that the mission was complete and he and his kids were providing an opportunity. Now, I can't tell you no tale. I'll be a fool to sit here and tell y'all that I wouldn't have taken the opportunity. The only difference in what I would have done, and I'm speaking for myself because I can't speak about that man. I can't say what he should have done or how he should have done anything like that. But I would have gave a little bit more grace to the university that gave me my opportunity, regardless of the fact of how everything, played out in the media or how you may have felt about, about the song that was played at the stadium when what's that? If you're gonna leave, then go on and head on out the door. What's that? One monkey don't stop no show. Yeah, and guess what? If you've ever been to a Jackson State game, they play songs like that all the time, during the game or during timeouts or whatever have you, just for, fun and giggles to keep the crowd, into what's going on. And because Deion Sanders was leaving at that time, I'm sure he felt slighted. He felt some kind of way because Jackson State fans don't play with him. They stood up, they sung that song. And you know why they sung that song? Because they too were upset about Coach Deion Sanders leaving. Absolutely. You don't come into an area and give all of this conversation about how you're going to project change and things that you're going to do to make things better. And then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you're gone. See, people fail to understand, those that, haven't been really following the train as far as a lot of different things that's going on at the time. Coach Prime, let's be real here. You have been looking for jobs since that first season that you won, while you was in the SWAC, hoping that you can go ahead, bust a move, and go do something different. But what really shook everybody up to its core is the fact that you begin to get players coming into the program after that first year, which you played South Carolina State University in the HBCU National Championship game, which is the Celebration Bowl, which you guys came out of there with an L, 31-10. Had you won the national championship, the HBCU National Championship against South Carolina State, had you won the national championship against North Carolina Central last year, Coach Deion Sanders, as I'm standing here breathing right now, I'm going to say this to you. You would have had any and everything you needed to build that program into whatever in the world you want to build it to. Because now that you've won it twice, yes, it would have become time for Jackson State to possibly move up and do something different. There's nowhere in the world you're going to tell me forward thinking was the reason why you decided that you want to move on, outside of the fact that you and your kids was given an opportunity. Come on, let's be real here. Because one thing I say is this, and I love doing this from time to time, because especially when I'm getting out there on the road and I'm getting ready to travel, or I got to leave and go to work real early, I like to sit down and listen to different speaking points where people are talking about different topics. And it allows my mind to open up to really listen and hear what's being said by those that are having a conversation. When Deion Sanders' business manager, Constance Schwartz-Morini, was interviewed by 60 Minutes, all you had to do was listen to what she was saying. I mean, it was beautiful. It was beautiful because she told you exactly what was going on. When they asked her, when she said that Coach Prime is using social media as an equalizer to compete with better funded football programs. Quote, I guarantee you're going to see more programs following the Prime effect. And she goes on to mention the NIL deals that athletes are being offered to come to these programs, in which at the time they didn't have the money over there at Jackson State as many would have expected for, HBCUs to have. See, everybody is so quick to talk about how HBCUs are misappropriating money, or you got people stealing, or you got this one cat that's on, I think he's an officer from somewhere. He got a channel talking about how Deion Sanders wasn't paid his ticket money. Well, I'm gonna show you the list of the fans that came into the stadium that year when that statement was made. I believe that was made in 2021, in which he's saying that affects his pocket. Well, we're going to look at that because you know what? Nowhere on that list does it show Jackson State having 60,000 fans in the stadium. And if I'm not mistaken, he was given 10% of ticket sales over 30,000. ticket sales sold, as well as a percentage of the season tickets that were sold. So all I'm saying to you is, what in the world are you talking about, brother? You didn't even do the research for it to find out exactly what's going on. You said, he said in the video, he said. And then you want to use the woke agenda. I don't understand why everybody wants to use woke as a reason for why something happens. No one has to be woke to understand that from time to time, we all put out a bunch of bull jive just to get everybody's attention. See, yeah, I can not cuss as well. I don't have to use swear words to get everybody to understand where I'm coming from. This made no sense. Yes, that man is allowed to do whatever it is he needs to do that's going to be beneficial to him and his family. I'm not upset with him about that at all. Every time we look up back with another docuseries, you know, trying to portray what took place in certain situations over at Jackson State that led up to certain things that happened. I mean, Coach Prime, one thing I don't want to see happen with as far as with HBCUs, when it comes down to all of this stuff, is that people start going to dig for things to find them. All this stuff was a bunch of bull junk. And not only that, but NDAs have been signed so that the athletes that are no longer with the program, if they want to talk about it, they can't. They're put in a situation. So, I mean, yes, it puts you in the perfect situation to make sure that you're behind is squeaky clean where no one can complain and say anything about it. Yeah, people can speak at it, but then as you say, I got my receipts. Well, people got their receipts too. We understand that you are such a mega star that people are not going to be able to try to cut you down because you got millions of followers that's going to come back and say, no, you're wrong. We talk about the narratives. There's been so many narratives that have been created, especially with this whole thing with the photos of the home in Jackson, Mississippi, and then the mansion in Boulder, Colorado, where it looks like, you know, Mississippi doesn't have much of anything, but Boulder, Colorado has everything. And I'm like, wait a minute, let's take a look at your house. You got a big old pretty house there in Jackson, Mississippi, sir. There's a lot of big pretty houses in the area around you as well. But I say all of that to say how people can generate a narrative to make things seem like they're something else when they're not. Stephen A. Smith made it a point to let the world know about Shedeur Sanders having the NIL deals that he had, you know, since he got to Boulder, Colorado. Well, Stephen A. Smith, I'm gonna tell you this, sir. You're wrong once again. You have not done any research to find out exactly what's going on. The Gatorade deal, the Beats by Dre deal, the TB12 deal, the Mercedes-Benz deal, all of those deals was generated while he was at Jackson State University, okay? Just putting that out there. But no one is going to go back and say, hey, these are the things that took place. Right now, what everybody's looking to do is erase the memory of Deion Sanders, head coach Deion Sanders, was at Jackson State University. They're trying so hard to erase this when you have former HBCU alums that are now sports analysts, one who played in the NFL and is a Hall of Famer, damn good ball player, as well as another Hall of Famer and daggone good analyst who totally have brain farts all the time when it comes down to what took place at Jackson State University when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Let me explain something to you guys. Everybody is so enamored by the fact that this young man is out here putting lights out type numbers in games. And the thing is, Shedeur Sanders was doing this at Jackson State. Shedeur Sanders was out there cooking them folks up out there on the field at Jackson State, in the vet. Wherever it was that they went to go play ball, he was out there cooking them cats up out there on that field. You got to give credit where credit is due. I'm sorry, it's just that way. This young man, his freshman year, let me enlighten you a little bit, since nobody want to talk about the young man's stats while he was at Jackson State. His first year, the young man threw for 3,200 yards with a completion percentage of 65.8%. Last year, as a sophomore, he threw for 3,752 yards with a completion rate of 70.49. Right now, this young man, I believe, is 1,300 yards in 3 games. And has a completion percentage, I believe, like 80-something% right now. Now, heck, I have Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball. I have him throwing for over 4,500 yards, close to 5,000 yards this season. The one biggest reason why I have that set up, one biggest reason why I say that is because they don't have a running game. And that young man, if he's given enough time in that pocket to sling that ball around the field, he's going to put up some big numbers. Now, the one thing that scared me a little bit about him out there throwing that ball so much is the fact right now that young man, I believe, has 15 sacks already on the season, and that's in 3 games. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. He had 33, I believe, in his 33 or 35 his freshman year. And I forgot the number of what it was his last year. But again, 15 sacks already in this season, and we just now 3 games in, going into the 4th game. Come on, you can't have that young man out there taking no beating like that. But I say all of that to say, when you have analysts like Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Ryan Clark, and a few others out there, and especially the young man, the officer that want to talk this woke business about how everybody's being a hater, and we should be happy about Deion Sanders getting an opportunity. I've never said I was unhappy about him getting an opportunity. He made it perfectly clear. He got an opportunity for himself and his kids. What man in their right mind would not take that opportunity? All I'm stating the obvious to you is, had you went to an HBCU, Mr. Officer, sir, you would understand that had he won the HBCU National Championship 2 years back to back, that man would have had any and everything he wanted. And it had been on time as far as what he was looking to do when he first came to Jackson State, when he was saying he's going to put HBCUs on the map and he's going to have athletes coming into HBCUs to want to play ball. You shined a light on HBCUs. You didn't put them on the map. You are definitely a marketing genius. I have to give you that. Can't take that from you at all. So everybody out there, before y'all get talking to coach, you're being a hater. No, I want you to understand one thing. If I was a hater, you would hear me talking down about every little thing that he's done. I've lifted him up. I brought it back down to where it needed to be. I lifted it back up again. I brought it back down where it needed to be. I'm not going to sit here and dance from peak to peak to peak to peak and act like we ain't got nothing down in the daggone valley that's really going on. You can miss me with that, because it's time that we as people get out of that habit of thinking that, hey, everything is just what it is this way for whomever it is that we wanted to be for. But when it comes to everybody else, we want to snatch their drawers off, kick the can down the street while we still kicking them and sitting there talking like, I told you so. We're not doing that. We just not going to do it. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is entitled to go wherever it is he wants to go. He's a coach. That was his ambition from the beginning. Jackson State took the initiative to give him an opportunity for him to come there and coach. He was able to do just that. He was able to win there. But we're not going to sit back and act like Jackson State was not winning before Deion Sanders arrived on campus. Y'all can miss me with that crap. Y'all can get out of here with that. Because one thing I say is this. Just like everybody's embracing head coach Deion Sanders in Boulder, Colorado, they embraced him the same way in Jackson, Mississippi, in which if you go back and look at his documentary, which it should enlighten everybody to go find out a little bit more about what all took place, instead of just going off of these little clips here and there. So, oh, well, he said this, he said, but you have no facts to back up what he said. Because he said it doesn't mean it's the truth. It doesn't mean it's gospel. One of my good Zoe himself from over at Jackson State University himself, he said, what's the one thing a pastor knows? He said, that's his word. And guess what? This man knows his word when it comes down to the lingo he's about to give you based on how he wants you to move within that particular cycle that he has you in at that point in time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's up to you to dissect whether or not if it's facts or if it's bull junk. And right now, people, we've been spread some bull junk, and everybody want to bite down on that sandwich and don't smell what's coming out from in between them 2 pieces of bread. Me, myself, I'm a chunky dude. From time to time, I want me a triple-decker sandwich. So I want me a little peanut butter in the middle, and I want the jelly on both sides. I might go ahead and say peanut butter on both ends and jelly in the middle. Guess what? I'm trying to make sure I'm smelling peanut butter, Jiffy peanut butter, and some daggone Smucker's strawberry jelly. If I ain't smelling the strawberry jam or jelly on there with that Smucker's, guess what? I'm tossing that daggone thing, because this ain't the sandwich I want. Right now, y'all better pay attention to what's happening right before your eyes, because once again, the media train is busting everybody upside the head and no one wants to pay attention. I'm not mad about what this man is doing. I don't like the narratives that's being created based on HBCUs, because what was shown by 60 Minutes, not only does it affect Jackson State, it affects every other daggone HBCU that may have homes in those areas where those HBCUs are located. But you know what? The funny thing is, we don't want to talk about how these states owe these HBCUs all of this money for these land grants that they have not been given over a substantial period of time. I've been to Jackson, Mississippi several times, and I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed myself. As you see over my shoulders here, I have a t-shirt from one of the staples that's over there by Jackson State University, which is Stamps. Stamps is a restaurant that serves those super burgers that are delicious. And they've always given back to the university, letting them know how much they appreciate it. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, they may be alums of Jackson State University. The sad part about all of this is the fact that we have people out here that have generations of family members that have gone to HBCUs. Guess what? I got 3 kids outside of myself that are at HBCUs. So you know what? No, I ain't turning my back on them. I'm riding with them because they're the ones that's going to give you the opportunity when you're down and out and you need some help with them classes. They're going to find a way to help you behind, learn and get through to get to where you're trying to go. There's too many doctors, lawyers, and physicians, veterinarians, and things of that nature that's coming out of HBCUs for you to sit here and talk like HBCUs ain't hitting on something. They may not be hitting on nothing for you, but guess what? There's a lot of folks out here that's making some major scratch, that's doing some phenomenal things that came through them HBCU walls. Head Coach Deion Sanders, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. You are where you wanted to be, which was at a Power 5 institution. Jackson State gave you the vehicle to get to where you wanted to be, which is where you are. There's no need for the back and forth, the chaos and all of these things that's going on when it comes to Jackson State and you deciding that you want to move on. You offended some people. Head coach T.C. Taylor, head football coach T.C. Taylor, head women's basketball coach Tamika Reed, both Jackson State alumnus. They didn't take too kind of that because it made no sense for 60 Minutes to put something out like that. And for you, sir, even though you're not an employee any longer, every time a documentary has come up and Jackson State is in it, be it that you created it or someone else, never say a word. Just roll with it. Just roll with the punches like, hey, let them defend it. I ain't got to defend it. But these are the same folks that stood by and defended you, even through all of the murk and mud that they've been pulled through. They stood there and defended you. But hey, you know what? I don't expect anything to happen. I mean, like I said, hopefully one day you'll understand how much of a help you could have really been to HBCUs, not just Jackson State, all of them, had you just stood fast and completed the mission. You completed the mission to get you to where you were trying to go. And that's what it's all about. You want to elevate. You've elevated. Salute to you, King. I'm proud of you. But guess what? Guys, Coach going to go ahead and get up on out of here. But until next time, be the one and lead.